it's Mrs. Nicol. Hope you guys are all doing okay. I'm sure things are just as crazy at your house as they are at ours. What I'm going to be covering in this video is going to be notes about section 17.1, which is on classification of living things. As I'm going through these, please follow along in the notes that I sent to you through email. I'd like you to have your notes in front of you as you're watching this video. So if you need to pause it for a second, pause it, get your notes, and be ready to follow along with what I'm saying. Just to give you a little bit of background. So this is my new biology classroom, also known as my den. My son has taken over the living room. My husband's working in the kitchen, the dining room, and the basement. This is my room for the next few weeks or however long we need to be doing this. If you see all the flags in the background, it might kind of look like this is a social studies class, but it's not. We just happen to like a lot of flags, and I think it's kind of apropos. There's a little Latin for you, since, you know, it's showing all the different countries and we're all kind of in the same situation together right now. If you hear a cat, Jack is down by my feet, one of my 3 cats, so you might hear him meowing a little bit. So chapter 17 is about classification of living things. Section 17-1 is on the Linnaean system. So taxonomy is a branch of biology that names and classifies organisms. If someone's a taxonomist, that means they're a biologist that focuses their efforts on classifying newly discovered organisms and also making sure that ones that have already been discovered are correctly classified. First person that really ever did anything with taxonomy was Aristotle. Aristotle was a Greek philosopher, and basically what he did was he split all living things into one of 2 categories. He said everything's either a plant or an animal, and that's the end of the story. He took the animals and classified them by where they lived. The only problem with this is some animals don't just live in one place for their whole life. Some birds live part of the time on land, part of the time in the air. Amphibians, part of their time on land, part of their time in the water, etc. Then moving on from that, there was a guy named Carolus Linnaeus. He was around back in the 1700s. He came up with what is known as the Linnaean system of classification. He basically came up with 7 different taxa or taxonomic levels. Those levels are kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, genus, and species. An easy way to remember that, because you do need to know the order of those different levels. Mnemonic device for this, the most common one I've ever heard is kings playing chess on fine grand sofas. Basically, a kingdom is the largest level. It's also the least specific. The species is the smallest level, and it's going to be the most specific. This system uses Latin. That's how he set it up, and that's still how we're using it today. An example that I've always done in the past for this is classifying a lion. And so if you take a lion, you can put it into the 7 different levels. Obviously, lions are animals, so it would be kingdom Animalia. Lions have a backbone, so they would be in a phylum called Chordata. Chordata or chordate in Latin means of or having a dorsal nerve cord. That to you and I can translate to a backbone. They are mammals, so they're going to be in class Mammalia. The family would be Felidae, which in Latin means cat. The genus would be Panthera, and the species would be Leo. Okay, that's where the term Leo the lion comes from. Carolus Linnaeus also set up a system called binomial nomenclature. This has nothing to do with algebra. This is not binomial expansion. This is a 2-part naming system. And basically it gives every organism a scientific name. And that scientific name is made up of the genus and the species. So when you write this scientific name, you would only capitalize the first letter of the genus. Every other letter after that would be lowercase, including the letters that make up the species. After you've written it, the entire thing needs to either be underlined, or if you're not going to underline it, you have to write it all in italics. That's really hard to do. So if you're typing, not a big deal to do italics, but if you're writing, it's not easy. So I would just underline it, okay? Sometimes species are subdivided even further into what's called a subspecies or a variety. Typically, if we're dealing with subspecies, that would be used for animals. If we're dealing with varieties, that would be used for plants. So the way that whole Linnaean system works is a kingdom is made up of several phyla that are similar to each other. A phylum is made up of several related classes. A class is made up of several related orders. An order is made up of several related families. And a family is made up of several related genera, which is plural for genus. And then a species would be the absolute smallest group, and it would just include that species level. Guys, I'll keep making some more videos. Hopefully they'll be a little bit more professional in the future. I'm working on some new stuff. Hope you guys are all doing okay. I miss you.